yellow button, and I think I have some lag. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to another Night Owl session. We haven't had one in a while. And tonight is Mind Your Head. I was sharing with Pyong and Ermin just before we came online that I was watching a movie on Netflix called With One Voice. And it was talking about common spiritual practices. But the thing that where I got the title was from that movie because there was a I guess he was a psychotherapist but slash Buddhist, something like that. Okay, I didn't write it down or anything. All I remember is a little plaque he had on the shelf in the background, and it said "Mind Your Head." And I was also sharing about this other teacher there, and led me to um, a mantra, a meditation, a song there. And while I was listening to that, and I was thinking about Mind Your Head. And so this is the topic, and about guarding our thoughts. And this is what came to mind in my meditation is you have, and you've heard the analogy for the the gates that we have. We have the eye gate, the ear gate, the mouth gate, the nose gate, or windows, right? Windows, entrances to our mind. So I wanted to discuss today about how each of those senses um, may affect us, you personally, um, as far as our thoughts, memories, and stuff like this. Um, so we can start with any one sense first up. Um, one that comes to my mind right is the let's deal with the sense of smell. Have you guys ever found that you can smell something and it'll trigger a memory?
Why, yes.
Hey Eric, oh, you'll be back in half an hour? All right.
Yeah, I think that's pretty consistent. Yeah.
Trigger a sensation, a thought.
Um,
Have you ever sensed something that wasn't really there? You ever had that experience? I've had an experience where I would smell something, but there's nothing around that would even give off the odor, and it would trigger a memory. It's like the weirdest thing. It's happened to me quite a few times.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, help me out. Come on, expound upon that. Come on, you're never a loss of words. Had a loss of words. Come on, Byung.
Well, no, it happened. Yeah, it happens to me all the time. As a matter of fact, I can't remember the last time it happened to me, but I know it definitely happened to me this holiday season. I had actually, it was associated with a cold. I had a cold. And you know how sometimes you get a different smell in your nose when you have a cold as opposed to, or what, I don't even know if it was a cold. It could have been the flu or some kind of upper respiratory infection was the symptom. But and it smelled just like a cold that I had had when I was a kid, and so I had a lot of memories about going to my grandma's house and talking to my uncle, and I remembered what a particular lamp looked like and that sort of thing. Absolutely, yeah. I think it's closely associated with memory for sure.
oh, sorry, that's my alarm. Sorry, sorry. I'm just ruining your broadcast. Sorry, Brother John.
It's okay. That sound just triggered a bad memory in me.
Yeah, right.
I remember, yeah, some of the odors that would just come out of the blue. I remember, like, would remind me of like a past love for some reason. But then I'll get other odors where I'm like, uh, I'm I smell it, but I can't connect. It's like I know I recognize it, but I still can't connect it for some reason. It was just weird.
Hmm.
Mm. So I guess what go
Smell
ahead.
in the case
What's
of
that?
in the case of the smell that you can't connect, like there's no reason for it. I'm wondering if it's the memory that brings about the memory of the.
The memory that brings about the memory of the smell. So you saying that I thought of it before the smell came, and
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
I mean,
see, I don't recall it that way. I just recall. You know who we need in here for about these odors? Chris Mouty, because this is what he does. I think this is part of his profession. He works with these people dealing with the odors and memory triggers. Uh, no, but I don't know. I mean, from what I remember, is like the odor came, and then it's like I I just couldn't pinpoint it. I don't know. But I guess the in some of the almost every spiritual practice, right, would use some kind of incense. I would think almost definitely. I remember as a Catholic, I was an altar boy, and I used to love the smell. I used to love going to the funeral because they be burning the frankincense. I love that smell.
Yeah, it was definitely a distinct smell.
Oh, we don't have incense. It was Pentecostal, and they don't use incense. It's actually demonic to use incense, according to them.
Is it because it's like related to a lot of the Eastern religions?
Maybe, or it's also related to witchcraft, I guess. With candles, incense, stuff like that is for ritual. We never use incense in any ritual, anything in the church at all. But that's in Canada, Pentecostal.
That's
And
strange. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
same.
strange because in the Old Testament you would read of some burnt offerings would be a sweet smell to God, kind of, was pleasing.
Oh yeah, they don't do that either. Burnt offerings. It was we got
But
rid
not
of
so
all
much.
that in the New Testament. Is the
No, yeah, I know, but I'm not saying not so much the offering itself, but the smell of the offering. Or they burned incense too. Um, but
they want to think of
yeah.
themselves as evolved. Evolved religion doesn't do that.
see, Frank, I was not in the church. What does frankincense smell like?
Frankincense. I don't know. I don't know what. I just
I have no idea.
I can't describe it. It's like asking me what does an orange smell like.
Let's see if anybody gives it.
But they say certain scents, like I have some oils that supposedly I haven't used them in a while, but some of the oils or scents are supposed to be able to, aromatherapy. Can I say right? Aromatherapy is supposed to help with your overall um, wellness. You know.
Some people think it smells like pine and lemon combined with dry wood aroma.
Well, I guess incense is also related to a lot of native rituals, and I guess they want to steer clear of any other religion. So I don't. Those are the excuses that I remember hearing when I was young. And I didn't think I smelled incense till I was like 20 something, like for the first
Really?
time. Yeah, it was just kept out of my life entirely.
Mm. I first, yeah. For me, it was when I was an altar boy.
At least I don't remember it anyway. So, not even smelly candles.
But we can all agree, though, that nice smells that are pleasant to our, nose, can contribute to your well-being, and having good thoughts, help mind your head.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I like to have nice smells around. Yeah.
Better than bad smells.
Yep.
Yeah. Uncomfortable smells. They trigger memories too, right? And smells
Right.
really ingrain stuff into your head, like ritualistically. I think the sense of smell works better than any other sense at ingraining or writing information to your memories or recalling information. Smell
Right.
works.
We were just talking about that right before you came in. Yeah.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to go through the whole senses, Yuri. I guess the topic is mind in your head, and how can we guard or our gates to our mind, the eye gate, the ear gate, the mouth gate, the nose gate. What are things that are pleasing to us to help us, feel good? What makes us feel good, feel happy, you know?
Oh.
So first one was the sense of smell.
What about hearing something good? That would be
All right, let's go with hearing.
the opposite side of the head. I don't know. Hearing something good makes you feel good usually. Hearing somebody else who's I hate suffering makes me feel good too. Somehow.
Like I was just sharing, and Pyong was sharing music, mantras or meditation.
Man, I listen to music to meditate, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I get most of my meditation, I guess, just by dancing. I listen to music. It's a major part of it. Love music.
Very powerful music.
My mind is too noisy, so I have to calm it down with a lot of music. Drown it out.
Now you're into a lot of trance music, right? Electronic trance,
I
EDM.
hate trance, but
Okay.
like electronic, others, electronic, yeah, unpredictable stuff mostly. New stuff I've never heard. It doesn't matter if it's electronic or not. It's just electronic happens to release a lot of stuff that I've never heard at a 10 times faster rate than pop or any other genre, really, jazz or anything. And so it's easy to always listen to stuff that you've never heard, basically. I gotta close my window. I got a lot of cars and stuff outside.
Speaking of windows. Shalom, Reuben. Reuben says shalom all. I'll just be idling here for a bit, hosting a hangout. Perhaps when we wrap it up, I'll bring them over here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I snuck in a little bit on your hangout on Marcian. Yes. What kind of music you like, Pyong?
I am not a big music listener per se, but when I do listen to music, I listen to a lot of it actually. I like a lot of classic rock, like Pink Floyd. I like Pink Floyd. But I'll also listen to some classical music and country and all kinds of stuff. Nothing sacred.
Nothing sacred, nothing, no particular songs.
No, not
Or
really.
anything? No?
But I don't really like. I don't listen to music in the car, and that's kind of a elective, a conscious decision to not listen to music in the car because I don't want to have. I want to just have a boring time in the car. I don't want to have any kind of emotional level of excitement because that makes you speed. So yeah, isn't that silly? So I either don't listen to anything or I listen to like talk radio or something. But if I had to say what my favorite song is, I don't think I could. I really don't think
Okay.
so. But like I've got Neil Diamond, I've got John Denver, got Nine Inch Nails. That's just what's on my. It's just what's on my desk at the moment.
See, all those people, all those bands aren't making new music, though, right? So, do you ever get bored of just listening to the same stuff over and over?
Well,
Like,
I never listened to it.
Oh, it's new. Okay.
That's why. So no, I don't.
Okay.
Well, just like the sense can trigger a memory, particular songs we might attach memories to, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
A
remember.
love.
Yeah, yeah. Wish You Were Here from Pink Floyd. I listened to that with my first real girlfriend. So every time I hear that song, I think of her.
Puppy
Yeah,
love.
How every couple has like a song, hey?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Hey, go to a wedding, right? They have a song doing their first dance.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's always like something special, significant to that couple.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, Yuri, what do you does that when you say you have a lot of stuff going on in your head? What is that really important that you hear some kind of music or occupy your mind before you go to sleep at night?
No, but if I want to get into a quiet state, like a meditative state,
Uh-huh.
it's important to kind of settle it down. Otherwise, it's like kind of noisy. It's
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
hard to concentrate.
And that music would have to be very upbeat for you.
It doesn't have to be upbeat. No, it just
Okay.
has to. I guess it has to be. It lyrics. I guess mostly throw me off because they kind of pull you in a direction that the music wants you to think. Like they're written to draw some sort of emotions out of you or something. So non-lyrical music, any type of non-lyrical music is fine.
Oh, non-lyrical music drives me nuts.
Yeah, it does the exact opposite to me. It kind of settles it. It puts I don't know. It puts something that's
Quiets your mind, right? Quiets your mind.
well. Might not quiet it. It just puts it into a rhythm that can be tolerated, rather than kind of all over the place. Very OCD and AD type.
That's how I was feeling with that mantra I was listening to right before the hangout. But it had words in it, but it was, just a chant over and over. I had no idea what it was saying, but it was very, very soothing.
Oh, that's okay too. If I can't understand the words, that's fine. Like music in another language, lyrical music is good too. If
Yeah, I had no clue what they were saying in that one I showed you, Brojo.
Yeah.
Not a clue. It's something to do with religion.
So it's important that the music we listen to, the message that we're hearing, can affect definitely our well-being, for sure.
What about music like a mantra that doesn't have a message? That would leave your mind open to your own message, right?
Hence today's message tonight. Yeah. Hey, Shadow, welcome.
Hey, how's it going? It was either this or listen to Roy claim that there's no problem with evil ever.
Oh, okay. Well, good.
What a
So you-
coincidence! I was just going to say that.
You decided to close that ear gate right there.
Yeah, I knew I was not going to be able to be civil in that one, so I'm like, how about this one?
Okay. I'm sure you definitely have some thoughts on the subject we're sharing. We'll call about Mind Your Head, and we're going through like the different senses and how our ear gate, our our eye gate, nose gate, these kind of things, and the things we let in affect our well-being. And we talked about smell, different smells that might trigger a memory or very pleasing to us. Now we're talking about sounds and music and favorite songs or songs that might, they'll trigger a memory, whether good or bad, and how maybe we need to monitor, what we bring into our ears, because it'll affect our mood.
My daughter, when she was really, really young, we're talking, maybe 2, 3 years old, whenever a song would come on, she would respond to it. She'd either get happy or sad or what have you. She was incredibly susceptible to just a change in tone. The moment that something went a little suspenseful or what have you, she'd immediately just burst into tears. It was the most interesting thing to watch. Sad at sometimes, because you want to comfort her, but at the same point, it was fascinating.
Hey, welcome, Carlton.
Hey, John.
So Shadow, is there any particular songs that really lift your spirits up?
I don't know. In my case, that's kind of a hard one, because it changes so randomly. I've never been the big music listener per se. There are songs that I listen to when I'm frustrated and what have you. But in terms of songs that I listen to try and pick me up, in my case, generally not. When I'm irritated or frustrated or angry or what have you, I tend to put on music that will excite that, so I can sit there and work through it with the music in the background.
I do that with Linkin Park sometimes.
How does music help you?
When I'm angry, I put on In the End, because in the end, it doesn't really matter.
I got for myself a little bit harder, like Rammstein and Manowar.
I like some of the background music in World of Warcraft.
If I want to bounce, though, it's got to be the Ramones.
Want to be sedated.
How does the music help you focus and work through the problem?
Sometimes, whether it be, think of a moment when you've been really sad and really upset about something, and you can't quite get it out. It's there, and your eyes are feeling warm and this and that, but you just can't quite get the emotion. I can cite an example after the summer when the kids were complaining about not wanting to go home, and I dropped them off, knowing that they were having problems with their mother and this and that. A song from Evanescence came on, that Bring Me to Life, I believe it was. And that song was enough of a trigger that I just started bawling my eyes out on the way back. And I'd been sitting there and, having that kind of scratchy, burning feeling, not being able to let it out, and that triggered it. That was enough.
Do you notice that music, at least for me, I can't use music to change my mood. It seems to me that the music has to sort of support the mood I'm in. So if I'm in a depressed mood, I like listening to sad, kind of depressing. I hate to say depressing, but music. If I'm happy, then I can listen to the Beach Boys. But I can't listen to the Beach Boys if I'm pissed off or angry or upset or sad. The music sort of has to mirror my mood.
Well, the problem is that can also lead to a spiral. This is why I'm talking about using music to try and ride something through or to try and work it through. For example, I cited anger earlier. I'll put on very angry music, and I'll sit there and with the ones that I can, I'll sit there sing along loudly and angrily and this and that. After a while, I calm down and feel better. It's just riding it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just riding it out, just sitting there and getting it out of your system.
Yeah, it sounds like these two are saying the same thing.
Yeah, I think so.
It's something that helps you through, but it won't do anything itself.
Yeah, you just have to make sure that you don't let it consume you, because I've seen that happen too.
Music?
Yeah, I mean,
Or the emotion.
Well, it sounds like you're using it more to. You're using it more to.
Inciting the emotion to the point that you start going the wrong way with it. You got to watch for that too.
Yeah, I hear that. Yes. So basically, a difference sort of between kind of venting with the music, or using the music to help you vent and get it out, versus getting caught in sort of a cycle of a downward spiral. Where you're sad, now the music makes you sadder, and then that makes you sadder, and then and away we go.
Like when there's like a breakup or something like that, and you turn on the radio, and every damn song that comes up is a breakup song, and you can't take it. We've all been there. There we go. There's the laugh.
Yeah.
Now, there was a song that was recently popular, and I'm sure, it was played out like they always do with every pop song. But when it came on, it actually it uplifted my mood. It almost, I feel like dancing sometimes. And the song was "Happy" by Pharrell Williams. You guys know the song "Happy," right?
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, I know that song. It's incredibly stupid.
That's not the Be Happy song, is it?
No, not that song.
It's an incredibly stupid song, but sometimes that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I was talking about the Ramones earlier. How stupid is most of their stuff? But it's bouncy as heck.
Uh-huh. Colin, you're thinking of "Don't Worry, Be Happy"?
Yeah, that's what crossed my mind there when you said that.
Which I like that song as well. I like the words in that song. Now, how about
So just wait. One more question.
Sure.
Sorry. So basically, we have a block, an emotional block that music helps to release. Is what? How? Why do you think music has this effect? Are we repressing our emotions?
I'd say that it's not that we're repressing our emotions. One thing to keep in mind is that there's actually a whole field of psychiatry that deals with using music to help people get through their issues. There is actually a thing called music therapy. Just like, for example, when you're when you're not even an infant yet, technically speaking, and you're still in the womb, and you respond to everything in your environment, whether it be positive or negative or what have you, and you hear there's loud noises that are just bouncing into the womb, or the mother or father's voice or what have you resonating through there. There's always that response. We respond to sound, whether it be simply the voice of a loved one or somebody we can't stand for that matter. We have all these little triggers that seem to be audio-based, some of which are conscious, some of which are unconscious. And I think music really taps into that sense of connectivity we have both with others as well as our environment itself. There's something primal about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it, actually, something primal. That's how I feel when I put it on, usually. Kind of back to my roots, if anything. Like walking in a forest, as though John say. That's very interesting.
Anybody see that documentary? It was on Netflix a little while ago about the people who had various cognitive deteriorative situations going on in their head, like Alzheimer's, that sort of thing. And this fellow would come into these nursing homes and he would put music that mattered to them, like if you might ask a family member or something what their favorite music was, and he would put that on an MP3 player and he'd put it on their heads, and they just came alive. Did anybody see that documentary?
No, I can't say that I did.
Really interesting. It couldn't just be any music. I mean, it had to have some kind of, anchor point, but it was a dramatic introduction scene, or an introductory scene, where this man was talking to this elderly lady, and he asked her a few questions about her life, and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember." And then they put the headphones on her, and she started listening to the music, and she just started to erupt with detail, about how she grew up in, I don't know, wherever she grew up, and she had all these fantastic stories that she started to tell. It was really a really interesting documentary. I'll have to look it up.
Well, it's like with all the other senses. There are certain things that can evoke memories. Granted, one of the most powerful sensory.
Well, hold that thought, Shadow. Hold that thought, because we are going through the senses one at a time.
Oh, hang on 1 second. One of the most powerful sensory input in terms of memory is actually sound, rather smell,
Okay.
which we just got over. But since you said you just covered smell, I just wanted to make.
Yes. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
But yeah, it's smell. They've actually found that smell is actually the most powerful sense in terms of evoking memories.
Yeah, and writing memories.
Yeah.
I mentioned that right before you came in. And I think they mentioned that Rich Fry came in.
I just wanted to make sure it was mentioned because that's actually it's one of those things we don't think enough about. You know, you underestimate varied senses. I mean, there are things that we hear, and this is a weird way to put it. There are things that we hear that we are not consciously aware of.
Incoming message. Sorry.
True.
Yeah, I mean, whether it
But
be
we were aware of that one.
Yeah.
but regardless of what it is, there's also things that we hear that we're not consciously aware of that we'll never know how they affect us. And I think part of that is with, you know, it can be seen in the resonance of certain songs and people's preferences in terms of one song as well, but only a certain percentage of the inputs really process at any time.
It seems that people's favorite music is always something from when they were younger. The style, or whatever they want was made when they were younger. So it's almost like
Because maybe their parents were listening to it.
yeah, or they were listening to it, say in their teens or 20s, and then as their mind almost cemented, it wrote that, and that's what the music you like now. Whatever was around in your 20s or your teens when your mind is developing.
Yeah, there's a certain level of nostalgia from the whatever music you were listening to from that time period. So I think I've got to agree with you on that one.
Oh, for sure. I remember first time I was turned on to Led Zeppelin from my neighbor. He was a year or two older than me. He played the live version of Stairway to Heaven from The Song Remains the Same album.
Oh, good.
And I listened to that, and I fell in love with the band and became a Zeppelin freak.
It's funny how impressionable we are at that age, and we don't even know it. Look back now, and it's like, wow, I was cemented in.
But definitely music from the 80s. You know,
'Cause you were in the 80s, right?
yeah, that was my early 20s. Yeah, man, it was the 80s. It was funny. Nadia actually, she posted a song earlier. She thought it was a Christian band, but they're not. They're called Ministry. A song from 1983 called Revenge. And I was like, wow, because it was really an obscure band even then, and I was surprised that she posted it. I was like, all right. I was like, that brought back some memories. I love that song.
Yeah, I remember it as well. Well, I remember Ministry, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember that one per se, but I do definitely remember Ministry. Oh, there's the other one.
How about the people we listen to?
In general, or?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's take these hangouts for example. Do you ever find yourself maybe you're in a hangout, you just know you're in there a couple minutes too long and there's a lot of, the negativity going on, the name calling or whatever, and it affects your mood. It certainly has to affect your mood, I think. It affects my mood sometimes.
It probably affects the people's moods who are spewing out the negativity too. I mean, they're probably getting it out, maybe feeling better or feeding off each other and feeling worse. I don't know.
I don't think it's simply a matter of negativity. I don't think that's necessarily a requirement, so to speak. And I'm actually going to cite one of the folks on here, and I've actually had this conversation with him, and it was a little bit uncomfortable initially having the conversation with him, quite honestly, because shake your booty on here.
He wasn't here before, Eric, and he said he'd be back in about half an hour. But anyway,
something about the tone of his voice a lot of the time will irritate me, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's absolutely nothing to do with him. It's just something about the tone of his voice, and even being aware of it, it still happens sometimes. I at least knowing that that's what it is that for no logical reason annoys me about him. It's easier for me to deal with the ridiculous frustration, but I don't know why. Whether it's got to be something locked away in the subconscious. I have no clue.
Yeah, I wish Frank was here to kind of probe into that a little bit. We've all got some. It's not just the tone or it's like the candor, maybe the words somebody uses. It could be anything, right? It triggers something that you're not aware of.
Yeah, And in this case, it seems to literally be just something about the sound of his voice, and I can't help it. It's just there.
I understand that, and I've caught myself doing that, and I almost have to like consciously listen behind the voice, trying to listen to his heart, because I know, he has his ways. He's expressed, how he can be impatient, talk over, and that can be very annoying to people with that kind of tone, and then he could be very apologetic about it. I'm not trying to do it. Something maybe he's not even conscious of.
But the thing is, I figure there's got to be people that I know there's people that respond to me that way as well. Just for the way that I speak and present myself, I've had plenty of people like, you're smug, you're arrogant, you're this, you're that. I'm like, I'm just some schmuck on the internet. What the hell?
I've been holding myself back ever since you came in.
Don't take me too seriously.
Oh, please don't. Good grief.
You look like freaking heathens, but you sound different. It's confusing.
A little bit calmer these days than when I was doing the old account. Time to change.
Are you the same guy?
Yeah.
Oh. You said, okay.
Yeah, I just switched accounts a while ago. I'm Shadow Heathen now.
Oh. Nice to meet you again.
Yeah. Just mellowing out. Yeah, but I don't know. The things that we do know about why we do the things we do are kind of interesting to note sometimes. Is this things we do without having any clue why, I think, is what's more interesting.
It's like an iceberg.
More
you know a few things, but there's got to be 1,000 other things you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of stumbling through life, claiming enlightenment all the way.
Yeah. And then looking back every year, hey, and saying,
what the heck was I thinking?
Yeah, you're kidding.
So we're talking about mind your head, guarding the gates. We explored the sense of smell, the nose gate, talking about the ears, our sound gate, music, perhaps who we hang out with plays a part, right? We know certain people just, they have this, it's just the things they say come out of their mouth can have definitely a positive or negative effect on us. It just brings to mind, it actually brings to mind a scripture. And yes, I can still get truths out of the Bible, everybody. It reminds me of a scripture was in Job about, I'm going to paraphrase, I think it was like Job 34 or something like that, how we hear with our ears should be as like we taste, and how to be more discerning, like we taste when we taste food. Like when you taste something sweet or sour, it's very recognizable. You recognize it instantly, and sometimes we don't do that with our hearing, or we're not so discerning with the things we're hearing as we would be with our mouth. Just a thought out there.
I'm lost.
Well,
You're
the
lost.
things that you eat actually goes into making your physical body, right? The things that you hear go into making up your mental mindset. And they become a part of it. Just like the things you eat, right? You pay a little more attention to your physical body, but your mental mindset is pretty important.
So let's talk about the eyes.
Windows to the soul.
Eyes, the windows to the soul.
The least reliable of all the senses, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we all have our cameras off so we don't want our souls to be broadcast.
Well, hang on. I'll not only fix that, I'll put on my shaman's hat. I added another piece to it. Yes. This morning, so might as well.
Got to be something to that, hey?
What camera am I on? There we go. Got my eyes on.
Yeah, wait. I gotta take a look at this hat. Funky.
Yep. Well, if I'm going to talk from that framework periodically, I might as well have a hat to go with it so people know that it's not like standard viewpoint.
Are you keeping the head shaved?
Mostly. But that's the thing. I think the eyes are technically in some ways, the weakest and most unreliable of the senses.
What was that?
I think she broke up.
No, there was just a ding. I didn't say anything. I was just.
Okay. Your mic just did something weird.
Oh yeah. Don't ask. I would tend to agree with that. And the challenge is sometimes with me with science is that we rely on it so much for observation and everything that we do. You see people who are blind, and gosh, their sense of smell and their hearing and all. I mean, they're just so amazing.
We rely on our eyes more than any other sense.
Yeah.
Yet we're deceived by them more than any other sense.
Yeah, that
Maybe
too.
because we rely on them more often.
I don't know, maybe. I mean, I suppose you could try to put it that way, but the thing is that we judge so much based upon just quick glances and quick perceptions, and
Yeah.
I think we rely too heavily on it sometimes.
How quickly do we judge people when we meet them for the first time, you know? In the first couple seconds.
That is based upon appearance.
Hmm.
It's based upon the feeling you get too. Their manners and their mood, their candor, everything about them. It's not just appearance, right?
Well, the thing is, most of that things are things like, well, the candor. What I want to say this and that, but that's after you start speaking to them. Generally before somebody even opens their mouth, based upon the way they move and what have you, visual still, you're going to be responding to that. Just simply the way a person walks.
Yeah, or dresses or whatever.
Yeah.
Can we change the response?
Yeah, can you imagine how you'd look at somebody if they walked up to you with a hat like this?
I don't have any money, sir.
You just start going the other way. Heck, I
I'd
would.
say hi. If you came up to me with that hat on, I'd say hi to you.
You'd be like, okay, what's this weirdo's problem? We got to see what's going on here.
But then again, you know, I grew up in New York City, so.
There you go, right. You just asked me which box I lived in. Kidding, New York thing.
What's pleasing to your eyes?
Oh man, so many things.
I took a nice walk today on the road, and there's a lot of untouched snow around. Went by this creek, and it was very, very pleasing. The sky was mostly blue. The clouds, it was almost like, you ever see like a cloud formation? It looks like there's waves. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a giant bird flew right through the clouds and left these wave formations. It was very pleasing. It was very, yeah.
Cold day?
No, it was mild. That's why I figured let's go out. Yeah, it was a good day for a walk. Wasn't freezing, you know.
When you describe clouds in that kind of formation, immediately think of what's referred to as I think it's like a blue Eastern or something like that. That you actually get this ripple, and it looks literally like waves coming in.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love a beautiful sunrise or sunset.
I think the panoramic views tend to be the most dramatic.
Like being on top of a mountain.
I don't know. I prefer like enclosed views. Views like if I'm in the wilderness, it would be like it would have to be surrounded by trees or I don't know, boxed in views. I'm kind of claustrophobic maybe that way. Claustrophilic, I guess it would be. Always when it's wide open, it's a little bit
No, there's the other word. What's the word for the fear of open spaces?
yeah, agoraphobic.
Agoraphobic.
But it's not that far. Maybe just claustrophilic. You know, kind of like the enclosed, but not afraid of the open. It's just a little bit. I prefer the enclosed. So even if it's in the wilderness, I would prefer like to be surrounded by trees or anything, rather than a complete panorama. Like standing at the Grand Canyon is almost dangerous. I don't know, standing at the edge of a cliff.
Is it because you feel vulnerable?
Vulnerable to nature, maybe.
Mm-hmm. If like you're in open space.
It's like there's too much to look at, and you don't know what to look at. Sensory overload, maybe. I don't know. Pay real close attention to detail, but the overall thing is that's not how my mind thinks anyway. You know, most people like the panoramic, standing on top of a mountain and watching the whole world. You know. Actually, standing outside of the planet would be awesome. Just being on the moon and looking down on the planet. That's a great sight. Or just being on a satellite, you know, and just looking at the Earth. Probably my favorite sight of all.
I don't know. I've been asked, you know, if you could do one thing before you die, kind of scenarios in the past, and my answer was always being able to, you know, be on a, you know, like Europa or something like that, and just watch the storm swirl on Jupiter for my last hour, kind of thing. That for me that'd be it. You know, just see Jupiter rising with a storm and that big swirling storm going across. And
yeah, that would kill you pretty quick.
yeah, but you know,
you might get an hour.
you know, well, you know, we're talking wishes here, so what does it matter? But yeah, that would be it for me. You know, that the one thing that I'd love to be able to just see before I go.
It's in Europa. Europa is around Saturn, isn't it?
No.
It's a Jupiter planet?
Jupiter is Ganymede, Europa, and something else.
Io?
Yeah, Io, thank you.
And there's like probably 50 other moons?
There aren't that many, but yeah, there's a
Oh yeah, there's over 70, I believe.
Well, I'm talking major. Not the overgrown rocks.
What I was
yeah,
supposed
but
to...
everybody, that's a great perspective, just looking down at the planet. You just notice how you get a totally different perspective on life. Anything out in space, really.
Yeah, but I figure something like that, and this is part of why I picked Jupiter, is just that realizing how small you are kind of thing.
Yeah.
This past fall, I was supposed to do something that's on my bucket list, but I'm probably going to do it in July, summertime, and that is to go skydiving for the first time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You still haven't done that? You're
No,
talking about.
I was gonna do it in the fall, and just things came up. I wanted to do in the fall because I wanted that view, but I figured I'd probably do it for my birthday.
Well, just for anyone out there that might be inherently a little bit of a wimp when it comes to that kind of stuff, they also do have indoor skydiving. It's safe.
Indoor skydiving.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
basically a big wind tunnel that you can skydive.
Okay.
I actually have a video of my wife doing it. I can show you sometime.
but you missed the view.
Yeah, where's the view?
It's not just the view. It's just being
It's the
suspended in nothingness. It's pretty cool.
Mhm.
the feeling of flying is what that
Yeah. Yeah. Supposed to be, God, one of the best highs ever. Mm.
Yeah, it was a little overwhelming when I did it. I don't really remember the first few seconds of it when it's the first time I did it. Ooh, it was too overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so,
doesn't
yeah.
last long from what I've been told. It's real quick. Real skydiving, that is.
No, you open your parachute right away, so you got lots of time in the air. No, that's like sky falling.
How about for you, Pyong? What's pleasing sights for you?
I like all that stuff. I like when the snow falls, for the first time. Then I start thinking about the snowplow drivers fucking my yard up, and I don't like it much. But I like that. I like, little doggies and stuff. No, one of the things I was thinking about was I saw some photographs of the lightning storms on the pole of Saturn. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
No.
Wow, amazing. Didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. And there's so many things we don't know or that we take for
They got them on Jupiter and Neptune as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I saw some amazing photographs. I don't know if they were, to be honest, I don't even know if they were photographs or where they were from or anything like that.
How about a young child playing, smiling, carefree, being
But
carefree?
anybody's smiling.
I guess.
No.
I mean,
You have kids, Pyong?
no.
Me neither. My brother had all the kids, but I certainly enjoy when, seeing other kids, playing, have a good time, kind of carefree, not a care in the world.
Yeah.
Could lift your mood. And then again, on the other side of the coin,
Karate Kid.
crying, having a tantrum.
Yep.
Shut up!
Shoplifting. Armed robbery.
But you never know.
Then they hit the tweens.
So kids bank robbing at 8. Okay.
So we touch upon smell, sound, listening, hearing, eyes.
Touch. We didn't talk about touch yet. I don't want to
There's a
jump.
lot of
I don't want to
other
jump ahead.
I mean,
Go
the
ahead.
internet.
Touch.
I don't know. What about hallucinations? They're mostly visual, right? Like, did anybody find those pleasing? You get like her dreams, I find them very pleasing. Doesn't matter what I'm dreaming about. I love dreaming.
Oh yeah, dreams are great. Yeah.
Like a step away from reality. I love it.
As long as they're good dreams.
I don't know. I guess that integrates all senses.
I had a weird dream last night of my ex-girlfriend, and she had this kind of, I guess, I don't know if a hat or a crown, but it was like a cylinder. It was like a cylinder, a metal cylinder going up, and I couldn't figure out what the hell that was all about. It was just weird. And then usually, and well, her ex-husband was my best friend, and I'm not going to get into the whole story, but a lot of crap has happened, and I have been trying to get in touch with, kind of find out where he's at and how's he doing. So when I have a dream like that, usually it's like tells me, maybe I should, pick up the phone, call them up, see how they're doing, that kind of thing.
Feel guilty about not talking to somebody for a long time, then you start dreaming about them. And call them up. I get that a lot.
Right? Or someone just comes across your mind, your thoughts. Touch.
The best one.
Cuddling. That's awesome.
Cuddling. Hugging.
It is the most important, as far as I'm concerned, of all the senses. Just oxytocin. It's all about the oxytocin.
But is there no oxytocin with the other senses?
Not really. Oxytocin is predominantly released with the sense of touch. That's the number one way. Things like hugs and what have you. Hugs are like the number one source of oxytocin production.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, you say a 20-second hug can change your whole mood.
Yeah, and that's why, because it releases all that wonderful oxytocin in the brain. It's the one chemical that's really released predominantly from interaction with others on a very close level.
The one sense you can't get on Hangouts.
Yeah, very true.
Or smelling. I'm waiting for smell
Well,
vision.
we're grateful for that.
Most people wouldn't want that.
Now, there's another sense. I don't know if this has anything to really do with the subject of minding your head. It's I think they call it kineticism. Is that it? It's your sense of where your feet are at. That sensation.
Never heard of it.
I think that's the word. I'm not sure if that's the word.
Oh, I never even heard of the sense. Where your feet are at. Why is that important?
I'm having a moment of wondering whether that's really a thing or not.
Okay. Somebody Google it. Go ahead. Call me out on it.
Well, there's that sense of body image where you have a mental construction of where your arms and your fingers and your toes, every part of your body's at. That's well studied with amputees especially. I know about that, but where
What do they call it? Do they have a name for that?
It's your mental sense of your body. They might have a name, but I don't know it.
I can't strictly speaking think of the word for that, but there's also the phenomena which they refer to as phantom leg syndrome or phantom arm syndrome, etc. Phantom limb syndrome is what it comes down to. That's interesting in and of itself because people feel like whether it be fingers, hands, arms, whatever, are still there even when they're not. Now, a lot of that's because they have nerves that have abnormally terminated, and those nerves are still firing off. They just don't go where they used to.
I think the word is it's proprioception.
Oh, proprioception.
Proprioception.
Oh.
From the Latin word from Latin proprius, meaning one's own.
Yeah, that's your mind, your sense of yourself. That's studied for.
Well, this says the sense of the relative position of neighboring parts of the body.
That one I've heard about. It's important. I mean, it's like, that's how you do things without looking, right? Like you can cut something or type without looking at the keyboard. Say. Like you kind of have to. That's a good sense to have. It's really helpful driving.
I would think so.
You don't have to look at your feet to know that you're pressing the gas. I don't know. I'd say I actually sense of touch reminds me of. I listen to music generally at a volume where I can feel it.
Mm.
Then that really gets my mood going. Changes my mood. If it's not loud enough, then I can't feel it, so I just hear it. It only stimulates, say, half of what its potential is. Turn it up so you can.
On some days you turn it. Sorry about that. Do you ever notice that on some days you turn it up really loud, and on other days it's like, it's not as loud. Like sometimes you can't even hear yourself think, it's so loud.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's
and
just
sometimes you just turn it up to like half that volume and it's already too loud.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Very sensitive.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you do something along the lines of, blindfolding yourself or what have you, and you walk to where you think something's supposed to be, and this is once again where our eyes tend to deceive us. You think this is different when you're actually just walking it based upon how your body moves.
Maybe a lot of those meditative trances, that om type thing, they're very deep, so that you can feel them as well as hear them.
Yeah, you have to feel the resonance, otherwise it doesn't count.
Yeah, and even when you say it, right, you want to feel the resonance within yourself if you're chanting.
Yeah, that's the whole point, is the sensing feeling the actual vibrations going through part of the meditation.
I've had I've done stuff like that where when I've had a toothache, and I would do like an or a hum, and actually help me relieve my toothache.
Did it distract you?
I didn't call what it is. I'm not going to say it was the sound itself, or was it just the distraction, but maybe it was a placebo effect. I don't know, but it was temporal. I'll give you that. It wasn't long lasting. I'd hum a little bit, a couple minutes, and it would relieve it for.
The point of pain, of course, is to let us know that there's something wrong.
Right.
But at the same point, part of why it continues to hurt as bad as it does a lot of the time is because you're sitting there thinking, ow, ow, ow! So yeah, drawing attention away from that certainly sounds like a good thing.
Whatever works.
Chronic pain would be self-defeating then, right? Trying to tell you something's wrong, but if it's always there, that's...
Yeah, and after a while, the nerves just kick out and say, okay, I need a break.
And chronic pain's kind of like a short circuit. It's not very good for us.
Well, it happens, though, unfortunately. Heck, even my back stops hurting sometimes. Not often, but sometimes.
Huh. Pain makes you remember how good it feels without pain. When it stops hurting, it must be bliss.
I don't know that I'd go for bliss. It's funny because you sit there and you're not feeling it, and you just sit there and you start talking, then you realize, then you think, hey, my back doesn't hurt. Then your attention's back on your back and it starts hurting again. So it's better just like, notice it casually, don't comment, think about it. Just keep going on with your merry life like nothing's unusual.
Best not to think about pain.
In a manner of speaking, yeah. If you focus on it, it's just going to make it hurt more because you're focusing.
Yeah.
The same go for mental pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like somebody dies or whatever.
No, I don't think that. I think that one of the things that I do in my life, and it's worked for me very well, is when I do have something that gives me mental anguish, I will try to grab on to that thought and hold on to that thought as long as I can, and eventually that anxiety or that pain, starts to diminish, and it starts to mitigate that pain. I do that all the time because personally I have a problem with like regretting things, and I regret things that I think most people don't even think about. Like if I say something that is oh, it might be a little stupid. I said something stupid to the cashier girl at the grocery store or something, and I'll just think, God damn, why did I say that? And I think it has to do with me in particular. Maybe I'm too sensitive or something like that. But I know that one thing that has helped me through that is just almost like exposing myself to it, and holding on to it for as long as I can, and then and then it goes away.
It depends on the kind of pain, really.
It works for anxiety type pains, I find, if you do that.
Yeah.
If you have like a restless leg syndrome, say in bed or something, it's really hard to sleep. But if I get restless leg syndrome, what I do is you focus on the legs, and it actually makes the pain way worse. But if you focus on it for a few minutes, then you unfocus on it, you kind of overdose on the pain, and then it feels good when you're unfocused on it because it mellows out a bit. Maybe it's having the same effect doing that, overdosing yourself on the feeling, downing your receptors.
I wouldn't say you're oversensitive, Young. I say you're compassionate.
Oh, thanks. I'm cured.
There's a point though with emotional pain. Something inside of you just shuts down and you can't deal with it anymore, and it just stops, just full stop, because your brain just says, I cannot cope with more of this.
I can understand that.
Okay? Like they don't want to go outside because they have the emotional anxiety of going outside, and there's so much of it that it just shuts down. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
A lot of panic attacks and stuff are related to that.
But then again, I'm talking anguish, not pain, I suppose.
Mental pain and physical pain, come on, they're equally important.
Yeah, they are.
But they're not sense of touch, I guess.
Yeah, went to a dark place remote there, don't mind me.
Is that right? Well, I think we touched upon every sense.
Potentially.
How important it is to watch those windows.
Of course, we could argue that there's other senses, but that's when you start getting into the more esoteric viewpoints, I suppose.
Like proprioception is another sense.
Spider sense.
I'm thinking more
Sense
like
of humor.
I was thinking more like I was thinking more like empathy.
Yeah, you see people that lack the empathy sense. Oh man.
Yeah.
They're different. Okay?
I mean, I think you could almost argue that as being almost a tangible thing with the experientially, the bad vibes you get around certain people or what have you. It sounds so incredibly woo, but that intuitive and kind of empathy thing, whether it's not just sympathizing with others, but that impression you get for reasons that I'd be likely to state are most likely derived from the other senses, but you're not processing it on a conscious level.
What we call the sixth sense?
Maybe. I could call it that if you want.
If you don't process it on a conscious level, it shouldn't be trusted. You should test that feeling. You should never actually trust it. Oh, I get a bad feeling, and just act on it.
Well, that's not even necessarily what I'm saying, but I think you get where I'm going with that. Whether you want to call it intuition or what have you. And I think some people's intuitions are better than others, to say the least. But I don't know, a lot of that's life experience, and I think there is a degree of that might be drawn from the other senses that's not fully processed to the point that we can really quantify it.
Some would say that the woman has the better sense of intuition.
Depends on the woman.
I'm generally speaking here. I'm waiting for Amy to say something now.
Oh, we all know that. I mean, we do have a so I was not going to disagree, so there was something to say.
Could have said, "Amen, brother."
Right, I could have.
Yeah, I'm still countering it. I've known some women with really bad intuition.
I'd agree, but I think everybody has bad intuition, but men especially can get overwhelmed with other emotions that their intuition is really bad. So comparatively to a woman.
I'd say that's more of a cultural thing.
Oh, please.
No. I'd say that's more of a cultural thing, because when you think about how men and women are raised, men are, in general, a lot of men are taught to basically sit on their emotions, and you're not supposed to get emotional and all that hogwash. Well, women seem to be allowed to do that.
Yeah, maybe. So the repression comes out as more extreme.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. Is there are certain traits that are encouraged and discouraged in males that aren't discouraged in women, or encouraged for that matter. And that's actually, that side of it tends to be a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
Yeah. Big boys don't cry.
Yeah, that whole kind of thing. Yeah.
I cry. I cry all the time. I cry at Disney movies, dude. Like Bambi and stuff. Come on. When he shot his mom, oh, forget it, dude. You know you cried.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you
Never
heartless
watched
All right,
bastard.
you know what? I take it back, Young. You are oversensitive.
Now, the Bambi thing didn't faze me in the least. But,
When Bambi met Godzilla, that kind of, that struck a chord in me. That hurt.
Did anyone see The Land Before Time?
Yep.
Yeah.
Long time,
No?
a while back. Yeah.
That was sad when Littlefoot's grandma and grandpa passed away. Or, no, his mom. What was it, mom and dad? I can't remember.
I don't remember. It was a million years ago.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, sorry, a trillion years. Yeah.
Right.
Years ago.
Well, not as many as we thought. Did you guys? I don't know if anyone saw the post I just put up, but this lady, this scientist, accidentally did her test wrong, and so she repeated it, I think, another 17 times. And what she found were actual tissues such as skin, blood, all these different things that would indicate that dinosaurs aren't as old as we think.
Well, the reason that we think dinosaurs are as old as they are is the iridium layer. There's no, like DNA and tissue and stuff, that won't last as long. The iridium layer was put down like, what, 60, I think it's 65 million years, 64 million years, which marks the end of the Cretaceous
So
period.
what this does is this challenges that view.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Have you looked at it?
Let's not go on that tangent, please. Please.
No, the very fact that someone would assert that there would be DNA, there's no way that DNA could last that long.
You can't carbon date something that old.
That's exactly the
Carbon date
point.
doesn't go back that
So
far.
something's wrong, and so they're starting to look at aging a little differently now, and they're challenging all the assumptions. So I'm just glad.
No,
that they're
carbon
scientists.
dating does work, but it's the iridium layer that they look at.
Carbon dating doesn't go back that far. It only goes back
Yeah.
like 75,000 years. It
Okay.
doesn't, not even a million.
No.
All right, guys. All right, hold on. I'm out here.
Yeah.
Well, looking at half-lives.
First of all, we're going off on a tangent, and second of all, I hate the whole creation evolution debate.
I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in with one thing. Hermine, I know. Just taking a quick glance at what this is saying pertaining to dinosaurs and soft tissue. It's been refuted. I can sit you down at some point with my buddy Jade, and she can go through it with you.
That's actually not
Right.
true. There's numerous scientists that are weighing in, and it's about 50-50 now. It's really
Oh
interesting.
no.
There's about half that are saying
No,
yes,
no,
half
no,
that are saying
no.
no. Yeah, sorry guys.
No.
I think-
That would be Nobel Prize winning work instantly.
Now I'm thinking of
Yeah,
Roger
that would-
Dangerfield.
Yeah, that's just not right. That's not true.
I
Sorry
get no
guys.
respect. I get no
You
respect.
don't have to be. You don't have to be sorry. You don't have to be sorry. It's just something that it can't be. It's
No,
simply
well,
can't
I'm
be
not
true.
sorry particularly. I'm sorry for you.
Why are you
All right,
sorry?
can we
Why are
save
you
this,
sorry for
save
me?
this conversation afterwards? All right, I'm going to cut this conversation short right now and say hello to. Oh, Sid, you were my scapegoat, Sid.
I'll be your
And he
scapegoat. Go ahead.
left.
Ask me a question.
Sid. All right, if you want to continue that conversation, I'll go off air now. Yeah, we're on an hour and a half. Okay. I don't like
Oh
to
no,
go.
I don't want to. I
long.
don't want to hijack your. I was just
Right.
responding to an assertion. That's all. I don't want to hijack your. Hang up, Brojo.
It's, I think we've kind of covered all the senses. Unless anybody, want to say anything. Final thoughts, plugs. Shadow, you want to plug any of your hangouts?
Just wait. There's. I think that the sense of how you feel about yourself is one of the most important. It's a weird way to put it, but it is a sense. I think it's how you. I don't know, what is it? Self-esteem, self-image. How you see yourself.
But what we bring in these senses can it,
It's something that you can
help
mind.
us,
for sure.
facilitate with that.
It's something you can mind, probably better than any other sense. Something that you can control, right?
Your thoughts, your mind, your very mind,
Yeah.
your very thoughts.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you can control your thoughts to a large extent. I mean, it depends. It depends on what thoughts and how they're maybe
you have a choice
contradicting
to
with
dwell
other
on it?
thoughts.
Could you,
I'm sorry?
you could change your thoughts if you're dwelling on a bad thought. Couldn't you not change your thought? Distract
Well,
yourself. Use a sense or something, like again with the music or something.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that would be all
I
right.
think you have more control over that than any other sense, is what I guess I was trying to say. Like, I don't really have too much control over what I see if I'm in my room, or if I'm outside. I'll see the same tree that's always been there. But, I can change the way I actually perceive the tree. It's like
Okay.
a good thing, in my yard rather than a leaf dropper and a mess maker, or whatever.
You bring up a good point. I mean, yeah, change your perception. I mean,
Perception.
I have trees. I have trees in my backyard, and yeah, you're looking at them from afar. But if you got up close to the tree, right next to the tree, look up. Even lie on the ground and look up at at the tree. I mean, brings a whole change of perception.
See the tree totally differently.
Mm-hmm. And such, how we have to see things differently. Well, gentlemen, ladies, we'll continue off air. Thanks for joining me here on the Night Owl, and we'll just continue off air with whatever. If anybody listening wants a link, I'll post it in the event page. If any of you guys want to invite anybody in, and we'll continue Night Owl off air. Thanks, guys. Everybody have a good night.